Taking a Walk.
What I loved about being at the studio Fame is the freedom that you feel when you walk into a room and you know that someone that you look up to, you marvel at. Your Aretha Franklin's, your Etta James, your all those musicians Wilson Pickett that walk through these doors. They were at the highest level of what they could give us as artists. So yeah, it puts you in a place where you have an expectation to meet. Yeah. So you don't bring anything but your heart, your soul, and you allow your mind, and you allow the spirit of that place to take over.
Welcome to the Taking a Walk podcast with your host, Buzz Knight. And if you're a fan of this show, please share it with your friends. And also check out our companion podcast called Music Saved Me, hosted by Lynn Hoffman, where she speaks with musicians about the healing power of music. Today on Taking a Walk, Michael and Tanya Trotter. They're the War and Treaty, and they're here to talk about their incredible journey and their new album, their fourth, called Plus One. Here's Buzz Knight with the War and Treaty on Taking a Walk.
Well, it's so great having you guys on the Taking a Walk podcast. I really appreciate it. Since it's called Taking a Walk, first of all, who living or dead, musician preferred, but not mandatory, would either one of you or both of you like to take a walk with, and where would that be?
I used to take walks with my mom all the time, and she passed 10 years ago. This year makes 10 years. I'd like to take another walk with her.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Musician I like to walk with is Mr. Nat King Cole.
That's a good one. Yeah. Where would you go with Nat? Where would you walk with him?
I walk with Nat up the Sunset Boulevard, or I'll take a walk with him on Route 66.
Oh, I like that. That's good. That's a good one. Congrats on the new album, Plus One, and a tour that's going to take you into historic venues all over the place. We'll talk more in detail about that. But I want to ask you, can you, if I was a space alien and didn't know who the War and Treaty is and had never heard you, how would you describe the War and Treaty to me, the space alien?
No, I'm sorry. I have very little common sense. But Tanya, you want to go first, or you want to take it?
I would tell the space alien that we have a lot in common. I mean, it's kind of hard to. You've heard it before. You probably haven't seen it before, but we are a mixture. If the alien liked music, of all the things that it would like about music, every genre of music we love, and somehow musically are able to tell the story with all those sounds without it being complicated or, I believe, compromising what each genre means.
I mean, I think the War and Treaty represents some folk, some Americana, some country, some soul. I was trying to describe you guys to someone that I was turning them on to you, and I said, imagine the Staples singers in 2025. How would you guys feel about that?
Honored.
Completely.
Honored.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, I want to talk about your service to your country, and there's a charity that is local in Boston, but it's national, called Home Base. It's a venture with the Mass General and the Boston Red Sox, and they do important work, obviously, with the veterans community. But first of all, if someone is a veteran and listening and struggling, would you talk to them about how important it is to seek out places such as Home Base for help?
Yeah, veterans community is a very unique community, and it's very hard to find organizations you can trust that would understand what a veteran is going through. So anytime we hear of organizations like Home Base who just get it, I like to go ahead and tell that veteran to go on and trust them, let them in. But for all the veterans out there that are listening, it's very important to remember that you have battle buddies. You aren't the only veteran. You aren't the first veteran. You won't be the last. There are veterans out there who have been through what you've been through. They've rucked in your combat boots. They know what it is to take off and put on that uniform, and they know what you feel. So reach out to your buddies so that you can feel a sense of belonging again.
And Tanya, as someone who has lived with the love of your life, struggling at certain points, talk about how you had that, profound help and influence there to have your love, seek help when he needed it.
Mm-hmm. I think what I would say to the person that is the caretaker is to be compassionate, really lead with empathy. And you may not be able to completely understand what they're going through, but I think when you lead with compassion and empathy, and you're listening and not trying to respond or make it better, it's just a safe place for your loved one to be able to express themselves and let out those feelings. And that's where I would start, is just telling them, just be a safe place to listen.
I produced this other podcast. It's hosted by Lynn Hoffman. It's called Music Saved Me. It's about the power of music, the healing power of music. And I think I know the answer to the question I'm going to ask you on how you feel, but either one of you jump in on this, or both of you. Do you feel music has healing power?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Music is the voice of God in my life. I love music, and music hasn't failed me when it comes to getting the message of healing across. So yes, I do.
I think you agree, Tanya?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a soothing balm, and it has always been since I was a little girl.
Can you guys talk about some music specifically, either artists or songs that have really impacted you over your life, that, whether it was a difficult time or just in general, have lifted you up?
Mm-hmm.
I would say Simply Beautiful by Al Green lifts me up pretty good there, especially when I'm with my lady here.
That was a song I used to sing, I guess, since I was like maybe 7 or 8, and I sang it all through high school. And Everything Must Change. Yeah, I used to sing that song. And I believe it was Donny Hathaway that sang that everything must change. Nothing stays the same. Everyone must change. Nothing stays the same. There are not many things in life
That's
you can
good
be
enough.
sure of.
Right there.
I love that song.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs.
Michael, that's good enough. I was here melting in my chair of the beauty of it. Can you see that the smile on my face here? It's
like, he messed up your smile.
But the thing is, Bub, as much conversation with you at 30 minutes will allow. So
that was a magical moment for our listeners, and certainly
Michael messed up the magic.
Well, they can come see us live so you can finish it there.
Oh God, he's.
Oh, that was wonderful. I saw you guys, I was mentioning this before we started, I saw you bring down the house at the Ryman a couple of years ago. It was at the UMG Country Radio Seminar luncheon. You just knocked everybody out. That's when I said, I have to get these guys on the podcast. And tell me, though, describe to us, both of you, what's it like? Because you're doing this all the time. It's a regular occurrence. What's it like bringing a house down? What's that feeling like?
Every time it happens, it just takes my breath away, because you just don't know that it's going to happen. People are just sitting there, they're watching, and you don't know what that final response is going to be. And so when it happens, it really sweeps you off your feet. And it's a reminder that it's so much bigger than you. Every single time it happens, you're like, there's something, there's a God, there's a force that's magically connecting all these hearts at the same time from what's coming out of your mouth, and they're erupting and they are feeling it all at the same time, So it's a spiritual experience. That's my only way to describe it.
Yeah, Buzz, I pray that we never become jaded. I pray that it's an earnest prayer of mine that we never take for granted the opportunity to touch an audience, whether there be audience of fans or an audience of professionals such as yourself who has heard it all and seen it all. I want to give my all. I want to give my best. I want my wife to give her all her best. I want to show what we've been working so hard to craft for the people, that we took great pride in our work. So when we do that and we see this kind of reaction, it's humbling for us.
Well, let's talk about new music, the album, Plus One, and a tour also that's going to take you to some pretty amazing places all across the country. The Troubadour, I think, is one of the places, and Irving Plaza in New York, and some other places. Let's talk about some songs in particular that I love, and then I'm sure we're going to go through every song probably, but we'll talk about the ones that I left out or you love as well. First of all, the song "Carried Away." That is so amazing. Talk to me about that song and why for you it's special.
Oh, well, Carried Away. I'm so happy, Buzz, that you acknowledge Carried Away. It's our journey, musically, definitely. I think that we start off with our love for country music. You can hear it in the opening of the song. It's like Hank Williams' band just stepped on the scene and has that good old country waltz. That doom, 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 and you're walking with me, and be careful what you're asking me. And we're doing all the things, and then we get to the intentional switch to R&B. And I would say things like, man, it's like D'Angelo, the R&B artist, or Joe walked out, or and just started singing in the middle of Hank Williams' song. But what I will say is this: I believe country music would sound like this today if Kenny Rogers was still living and he produced a record on himself. He'd want that intentionality to be present, and that's what Carried Away is.
I think there's a sense of elegance to it as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Buzz.
And then there's the song "Save Me," which, as we were talking about healing and redemption, but talk about that song.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because you don't hear people say things like, this person saved me, and I think it's okay. I think it's okay to have those moments when you want to be saved or you have been saved. I think that's really what's missing a lot of times in love, in love stories is I like to be a romantic. I think it's great when
Hopeless
romantic when you approach a relationship from that way, or a friendship from that way. Everybody in their own way wants to be saved from something. If I'm on a health craze and I'm about to shove 3 donuts in my mouth, I'm hoping Michael would save me from.
Don't save me.
From doing that,
Let me go down with it.
Having my goal, and but with our love and with our
lemon filled donuts, Boston creams.
We gotta stay focused. You can't. You're messing up
jelly donuts.
He's messing up the magic.
Glazed donuts.
I would want to be. I mean, in our relationship, we kind of, we did save each other. I was kind of done with music and didn't want to really keep going on. And, when my mom passed, and Michael saved me from making the biggest mistake of my life, and I remember not saying that I kind of didn't believe in love anymore, but I didn't have the hope that I would actually have this kind of love. And he saved me from my negative thinking, and that I would, and now I'm in love with the love of my life, and we are traveling the world doing what we love to do and allowing people to share in, our love experience. And in some way, the audience and Michael and I, we save each other, when we having a bad day and we get on the stage and that audience is giving us that love that we need to receive. Or if they're having a bad day and we're on stage and we're singing and we're giving them what they need, we save each other in those moments, you know?
We'll be right back with more of the Taking a Walk podcast. Welcome back to the Taking a Walk podcast.
Talk about a special song in Skyscraper. You talk about collaboration, the beauty of collaboration, not only with you two, but some family members. Why don't you talk about that?
Well, I had our baby daughter join us on that song Skyscraper and sing in the choir. So it was my baby daughter and then my mom, my sweet mother, Debbie, my baby daughter, Courtney. They joined and sang with us on the backgrounds. And Skyscraper is a very personal journey. It's very, it's quite telling about my frustrations with weight and how I tied it directly to my self-esteem. But now I'm letting go, and now I'm dropping the weight, and I'm going forward and realizing that skyscrapers don't get beautiful overnight. There's a process there, and that's what the song is talking about.
It sounds like you might have studied a little bit of the how the mind works, Michael. Is that true?
I think so.
The mind and the heart works. I think that's maybe a better way to approach it.
There you have it.
Another one I like is Teardrops.
Oh yes. That was.
Ooh. That's a sweet one.
I love the fact that Tanya is so. I can't wait for you to see the video to this one. And all our videos are it's just Tanya and myself. We're focusing on really honing in on this love story so that people can really get it. But Teardrops in the Rain is really dealing with our own insecurities in this relationship, you know, and how it's been a beautiful journey to share my doubts. Like sometimes I feel you don't love me. I feel that you don't love me as much as the last guy because you were more tolerant. Or sometimes you don't feel that I love you as much as the last guy. You know, this conversation is so beautiful. You know? And we're like, does any of this matter, or is it just like a teardrop in the rain? And you know, and it's a necessary moment in the album.
It's beautiful. It really is. And then the other one I want to single out is your collaboration with this Billy Strings guy I think I've heard of.
Yeah, little fella there.
Oh yeah, the phenom.
Oh man.
Yeah.
He I remember me giving him the song. He's sitting at home. He's like, "Man, what is that chord, man? Is that a diminished seventh?" And he's like, "You know, these kind of dark chords aren't in bluegrass." And I'm like, "Billy, if there's going to be anyone that can bend the rules, it's you. You're a rule breaker." But the song is just talking about moments where I was thirsting for something. Tanya was thirsting for something, and we found out that the drink was inside of each other. We drank from one another and from each other as well, and our thirst was quenched. This is poetry in the making, and we love the fact that it has this bluegrass gospel backbeat charge, as well as in our earlier song we had released called "Called You by Your Name," which is a scripture in Isaiah 43:10. He says, "You are my witness. I called you by your name because you are mine." Even in that scripture, he goes on, God says, "I've traded men for you, countries for you. You know, I gave up this one just to keep you." And it's just a beautiful love poem from the Creator to us. And so "Called You by Your Name" that's what we talk about. You know, even in this verse, Tanya says, she opens up with, "There's a lily in the valley. There's a bright and morning star." You know, and we may never even see it, but you can definitely feel it. And
It's beautiful, and the whole album is beautiful. Can you take us inside that studio in Muscle Shoals. What was that experience like? Give us an inside look at how creators like you make all the beautiful magic happen.
What I loved about being at the studio Fame is the freedom that you feel when you walk into a room and you know that someone that you look up to, you marvel at. Your Aretha Franklin's, your Etta James, your all those musicians Wilson Pickett that walk through these doors. They were at the highest level of what they could give us as artists.
Dominant.
So yeah, it puts you in a place where you have an expectation to meet, and you have to suspend all logic when you go into that because there's an expectation.
Yeah.
So you don't bring anything but your heart, your soul, and you allow your mind, and you allow the spirit of that place to take over. That's kind of what I did, because there were days where I think we did a day where we were kind of sick and we couldn't really hit the notes the way we wanted to. But then when you go back and you listen to those records and you allow that spirit to take over, that's exactly what you want. Is the rawness on some of these songs.
I interject here to tell you this about Tanya. Now, Tanya was very sick in Teardrops in the Rain. Mm-hmm. And a good part about being the producer, me, Michael Trotter Jr.,
and good and bad part,
is that was one take. Her vocal performance was one take while she was sick, and that is one of the songs she wanted to go back in and record.
I did.
And I said no. I said absolutely not.
I was like, what?
You're keeping that take. There's something beautiful about the rawness of your vocal cord, the pure honesty. You weren't relying on skill. You were relying strictly on feel.
And you were sick too.
Nope, not that day.
Not that one, not that song. But you were.
All my 6 songs never made it to track.
Look at that. How convenient.
Perk of being the boss.
Well, you have 2 bosses.
Well, not when I'm the producer.
Well, no. I'm the co-producer.
Now
you see how you got the
You
Warren
aren't listed
Treaty?
as the co-producer on this one, Miss Ma'am.
That's all right.
Oh, yes.
They all know.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
See, our audience is getting a glimpse into where the name The Warren Treaty came from.
There it is.
See, and that's why you're Buzz Knight.
That's right. It comes from that. We go back and forth, in and out. There's always a war brewing inside of.
Yep.
And there's always peace on the other side.
So back to the studio for a second, though. How much humor goes on while you're in the middle of your process of creation? I think a little, I'm guessing.
A lot of you. Tanya is.
Michael is a commander in chief in the studio. I've told him he has to let up in the studio.
But you should say how much humor, though, right?
He lightens up a lot. He is learning to lighten up. He's very funny. Like, if you ever just experienced him away from music, he's hilarious. So he's learning to bring that into the studio experience now, because it's a lot of weight on you, as a producer, to be able to, produce a product, especially with us being now with a major label that is going to present itself the way you want it to, so I understand that it's serious as well, for him, but he's very funny and we've learned to make light of it. It's an album and it's serious, but we're having a good time, and this is our 9 to 5. A lot of people wish they could do this. So
that's that.
Yeah.
But this is who you are.
Yeah.
I mean, I will confess too. I haven't told anybody this because I was alone. I then was leaving the Ryman at that event that I mentioned, so I happened to see these 2 stars off behind the barrier walking out, named the Warren Treaty, and you were both busting on each other. You were not in the middle of anything other than being yourselves. So I think one of the things, besides your amazing talent and music, that connects you, I feel, with people is this is who you are. This is your real thing.
Yeah, it's the real. It is the real thing. We
ain't nothing like the real thing, baby.
It makes people uncomfortable though, because when they see, a couple going back and forth, they're like, "What's happening here?" Our music director at the time, he's our production manager now, Max Brown. He's like, now he just looks back and forth. He's like, I'm not in it. I'm staying out of it. So it's so funny, but we have a good time together.
Well, hey man, cutting jokes.
Yeah, we cut jokes with each other all the time.
Yeah, I think it's the secret to you've been married 15 years, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow, man, Buzz, you got it going on, brother.
I think it's the secret to another 15 or 30 or however. As someone, by the way, who just celebrated his 40th, so.
Wow, that's amazing.
Show off.
Congratulations.
And as you could tell, I'm only 52, so how did that happen?
Yeah.
Hey, don't put it past people now. I've seen some people get married pretty young.
Yeah. So what's the secret? What's your secret? Give us a secret.
Honestly, sense of humor is a major part of it. Just being able to really, through good and bad, be consistent with that,
Oh, man.
That's awesome.
What awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's easy when it's good to laugh and have that, but when it's, times are tough, which everybody goes through. What am I, Dr. Joyce Brothers? Listen to me. What's going on here? And suddenly I've gone off course. Snap me out of it. Snap me out of it, would you please? I want to close with who you want to collaborate with in the future that would be on the dream list. I've heard some rumors about this, but I wanted to hear it straight from both of you.
We were just talking about this yesterday. Chris Stapleton and Morgan Stapleton. We're calling them out. Who do you say, Michael?
Who do I say, Michael? Okay, I'm going to bend the rules a little. I'm going to give you current, but I'm also going to give you past.
Oh.
If I could have collaborated with anyone in the past, I would have loved to have done something with Ray Charles. Mm-hmm. If I can collaborate with anyone other than the Stapletons moving forward, it's so weird. Josh Groban was on my list, and now that we've done it, I want to do it again and again and again. Michael Bublé is somebody I would love to have a chance to sing with, collaborate with. Mumford & Sons, good buddies of ours, and Brandy Carlisle.
Ooh, there you go. Well, that list showcases the diversity and genre bending. I love saying that. Genre bending. Nature of you guys. But I just have to say, my God, this is one of those moments where I sit and go, man, am I lucky doing this podcast and making this happen with the Warren Treaty, Michael and Tanya. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Buzz.
We appreciate it so much for you taking the time to be with us.
I really appreciate it. Congratulations on the new music. And thank you for all that you continue to give us and you're going to be giving us for many years to come.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Taking a Walk podcast. Share this and other episodes with your friends and follow us so you never miss an episode. Taking a Walk is available on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts.